My favorite moments when people are playing Behemoth, and I'm there for it, is the moment where they first encounter a Behemoth boss. And to say to them, that's what you're gonna fight. So there was a point in development where we were looking at the Behemoths, and they didn't feel big enough.
The game is called Behemoth. These creatures have to be much bigger, 2, 3x.
At first, it seemed like it would be so easy. And what we found when we got in there was that there's so much more to creating that sense of scale when you really dig in.
When you're seeing these behemoths from far away, that really sells their total shape. But when you're up close to them, you can't necessarily understand the silhouette of their bodies. There's only so much geometry we can put on these creatures. It is difficult to hide flaws because you are so close. You're climbing on them, you're interacting with them. You're seeing their face, their eyes.
It's really in a lot of those small details that we were able to emphasize scale. You have to have foreground elements to relate the scale to. We need to apply some fog and atmospheric perspective. That's what gives you judgment of distance.
In the world building for our game, we find opportunities to tease the Behemoth. Make sure that the player feels like they're in that monster's territory.
And in that way, we can really sell this massive scale before you even get on it. You see footprints, you actually fight in a footprint. We have the idea of these puzzle towers. Because this Behemoth knocked over the puzzle tower, you're climbing sideways.
Sometimes the way to make a Behemoth feel big is to not show him. Our first cinematic for Nightscraper, we allowed the player to see the Behemoth in his entirety. What we realized was that we were giving too much away, so we dialed back how much we actually show him.
We called our cinematic moments with the Behemoths our Jaws fin in the water moments. Everything that happens between when you see the fin in the water and when Jaws attacks is tension.
Sometimes we take a look and we're like, it doesn't feel as big as we know it is. So we have a cinematic with Stag. In the distance, you're seeing him walk and he runs into this tower and crushes the tower. So we built that up and we noticed he didn't feel big. So, okay, let's just bring him way closer and then now when he crushes that tower, all the rubble just comes flying at you.
One of the key things we learned is that scale and awe comes from contrast. The player is constantly moving through tight, claustrophobic spaces and then served up with breathtaking, sweeping vistas. By moving back and forth between those two extremes, you ultimately create something that feels like it has real scale.
When we were going over the ideas of climbing the Behemoth, it was more like, oh,
People on the team were like, I think that might be impossible.
It became a very complex problem.
We had to completely rethink how we handled climb paths and sight lines on the boss. Because when you're climbing up, you don't want to necessarily just be looking into the side of a boss. You want to be looking towards something. And that was when we started to choreograph the fight in a completely different way.
By solving those problems, it led us to creating more interesting boss fights. We wanted our Behemoths to be as big as we could possibly make them. Because we knew that the bigger that they were, when you beat them, the more triumphant you would feel.